Episode 87 of Ioth Academy. In the holy city of Brontha, our heroes meet with the spymaster Seer, who seems to know way more than he should about what's going on with Athalor's family, especially the appearance of his alien uncle. They manage to get themselves out of that conversation, but thanks to Anacra's interference, they've just learned of a powerful weapon that's now vulnerable in the city of Defraxis. As Defraxis' armies march towards Ioth Academy, our heroes and Master El now plan a surprise attack, ambushing the city to destroy this powerful weapon and see if they can take out some important designers. Afterwards, at dinner, a formal dinner with Marison, Pevam, and Inaros, having slipped a couple potions of greater restoration into a special bottle of sky wine, our young heroes attempt to get Elnau to consume as much of it as possible in the hopes of curing her void corruption. Through cunning, gaslighting, manipulation, they manage to get through it, and as Elnau walks away, her formerly nearly emotionless face finally breaks and gives way to a single tear. And that's where we're going to cut the little thing out of it. Welcome to Detention. We're doing an after show now. This is your idea, wasn't it, Jen?
Oh yeah, I thought this was a fun way to AMA and talk about stuff we don't get to cover in game.
Hell yeah. Yeah, episode 87 of our 8-part miniseries. Thank you. So I did ask how you're doing at the beginning of the episode, so we don't have to do that. Okay.
Still fine.
Yeah, great. So the first thing that I want to do every single time after the recap is I just want to open the floor to you lot. If you've got things that are on your mind, anything you want to say, anything that is just like bursting out of your head, the floor is open.
Yeah, I guess I enjoyed the dinner sequence of it. Basically, the way that like my home campaign like DM does like some sequence of events like skill challenge. Like everyone in the party like contributes some like skill, has to be like a different one, and we all like try to, if more than half the people like succeed or whatever, right, that meets a certain threshold, then like the event succeeds or something. And I kind of felt like this was reminiscent of that, with all of us putting in our efforts and getting Al now drunk. And I think it was really fun trying to like come with ideas and support each other and stuff. So I enjoyed that sequence.
Terrible role models. Don't do any of this.
Oh yeah.
Well, to be fair, these are some of the least bad things we've done.
That's true. No war crimes happened tonight. So that's
Exactly.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Prepping for those.
Legs, any closing notes, passing thoughts, lingering questions?
I want to know who those other tokens were in the next room.
Oh. Well, that's not a big mystery. I can tell you that. I was using the map for Marison's like barracks, the headquarters of the Phoenix Knights, so I've got guards and soldiers training all over the place. We can show it off later on. Knights dueling and sparring and practicing, and just people running around. I like to have these things set up just in case hijinks happen. Like, hardcore hijinks are not likely to happen there, but with this crew, you never know.
Yeah, we got a couple unique tokens as well. I'm sure will become pertinent at some point.
Oh, did I not get rid of them? Damn.
Yeah, you've left a couple in there.
I think they're council people. I recognize one token.
Yeah, they are council people. It's the Royal Enforcer and the Warden.
Oh, I thought the blonde one looked a little bit young to be a council member, so I wonder if they were like a Pevom equivalent.
She is definitely older than Pevom. I'm going to let Lemon Kiwi talk first if there's anything popping off on your mind, but then I can pull up. I have notes on that lady.
No, I was just surprised we pulled off the fact that she drank that whole bottle without noticing or pulling off of it, but turns out gaslighting and manipulation is the key to success to this party and continues to be. So I did not think she was gonna fall for like the just chug it, you won't pussy. So I was not, that was last resort. I did not think she's gonna fall for that shit, but she did. So
Yeah, I had one more thing planned, but thankfully that worked. So
What was it?
nice. It was just it was gonna be to take the angle of like get Garnet to like message me, because Mason's that message, and be like, okay, maybe the angle of like praising her worked, but maybe it would mean more, especially from like a diplomatic standpoint, if it came from Marison. So to get Garnet to like message Marison, be like, hey, please praise Elle now. I want this night to be special for her, and like gaslight her from that way. Yeah.
Do you know you're at the bottom of a barrel when Athalor's like, I'm going to invite Marison to your birthday party?
Oh,
that was
man.
badass of her though with the mage hand.
Yeah.
So the reason that now did this in the first place, that she took on all this void corruption, is because she is trying to protect Garnet, and at least in some way Garnet's innocence, like her ability to be a child. Elnau lost that in her own life, and she sees a lot of her own experiences in Garnet. It's almost like it's a second chance for her to do things right. It's too late for her, but she was clinging on to this hope that she can do that for Garnet, who shares this power in common with her, experiences these betrayals in common with her. It's probably naive of her to think that she can, but the whole reason she took on the void corruption was she couldn't get Garnet to listen. And she's not a parent, and she's not a good parent. She's a teacher. So when Garnet was egging her on, and she had already drank 1 dose of the potion, so it was like a little bit of a flare of emotion, it was a moment to have some connection with her after they've been at such odds, and all that void corruption made her like almost not care. She still had the same mission objectives, but she didn't have the emotional end. So frankly, all of you did a great job of playing her tonight. Like those were tactical. I was trying to stay in character, trying to stay in her psychology, and those were tactical strikes that I think worked. And that last one, like I said, was the wall starting to break, and she hadn't felt like that for a while, and now Garnet's like being nice with her, and so she leaned into it.
That's a good touch.
I was surprised that she didn't notice the effect of the corruption going away, or did she confuse it with being drunk? Or like did she think it was the alcohol effect? Or you don't have to reveal that, but okay, got it.
I'm gonna keep
just a happy little accident.
Keep that one for the time being.
Okay.
I will just say that every potion gets rid of one of the void corruption, and it doesn't get rid of emotional.
Does it technically get rid of drunkenness too? Is it like a catch-all restoration?
That's a good point. Could you drink as much of it as you want
Oh.
without getting drunk? It wouldn't change the fact that the way that she left the meal, except for the fact that she was like, I gotta get out of here. She would have still done that. But Peter, yeah, it cures the poison condition, and drunk is considered poison. So yeah, she's sober.
There we go.
Oh fuck!
sober
It's even
now.
worse.
But she's like gaslit at thinking she's drunk, but she's actually just sober, and it's all the trauma there.
Dude,
She's never gonna drink again.
she's the person pretending to be drunk on like fucking lemonade.
I bet she thinks she's like stone cold about it. She'd be like, "Wow, I'm not drunk. I still got it in me." Like-
I'm still the boss bitch of parties.
So when I went to college, I was the goody sheltered homeschool kid, right? I'd had alcohol, but I'd never been drunk before. I'd never done anything harder than that before. And all the freshmen on my dorm, they were all already partying, right? They'd been to high school parties and stuff, but I was a homeschool dork. And I had really wanted to go to Notre Dame, and I didn't get in. So all through the first semester, I was the holdout. I played poker with them and gambled with them, but I didn't drink or smoke weed or anything else. I was straight-laced. So it's St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, God.
And I'm sitting in the common room, and Sam walks in, and Sam looks at me, and like they already have the booze out, right? And they're like, he looks over me and he sees what I'm wearing. He says, "Yo, it's St. Patrick's Day. You're wearing a Notre Dame t-shirt. You got to have a drink." I said, "Yeah, okay." And so the TLDR of it is they were like trying to take good care of me as being the newbie, but I had to do the thing where I took my first shot without a chaser and just did the no sell. I think it was the fruit bite of the fire fruit at the beginning that reminded me of that. It's just, you have to T-pose to assert dominance the moment that you get in.
Nice.
And I was a degenerate. Barring anything else, we want to take some of the questions people asked. You can ask questions of the cast either in chat, on Twitter, social media, or in Discord. And we had a bunch of those earlier. We want to get into those next?
Yeah, send them by a carrier pigeon. Why not?
Okay, this first one is for Crowan. Not to say that Alexander's arc is over, but we haven't talked behind the scenes about Alexander for a while. And I know how much you enjoy playing that character. So the community wants to know, what do you want to explore with Mason?
Yeah, I think I kind of obviously I had a lot of investments in Alex and stuff, and I still do, but Mason is what's helping the party right now, and I kind of made Mason in mind with like I want a character that's easy to integrate into the story because they just want to like help people, and I think that's concepts of like the Oryx tribe that I really wanted Mason or Mantra to identify with, is like has all these teachings or whatever, wants to go out, make the world better, so as kind of like a character that can just go along with things and feel still like happy to do so. But if there would be like a specific like thing for Mason to explore, perhaps it'd be something. I mean, I know there was talk with like the sage a while ago, like going back to like the Oryx tribe and like seeing like the cave and stuff. Maybe like finding his mentor as well. But that all even in Mason's mind is kind of like backseat kind of stuff to just like making sure like he's helping and feels like he has found a purpose in helping other people.
Gotta have that friend. Everybody needs to have that friend. This one is going to be for each of you. Assuming that your character survives the destruction of the academy, or that the academy survives and you graduate, where do you see your character in 10 years of game time? So like 30 years of...
What level would we be?
Normally when you graduate, you're 7th level. All the god killing has kind of messed you guys up. So you would graduate you're in your 5th year now, so you only have 2 more years of mage studies. Then you could go on to study at one of the towers, or you could go off to pursue your destiny. I mean, given the way that the XP system works, you could be really high level in 10 years, especially given all the nonsense. Like, you're kind of running around in this age of myth and legend, doing legendary stuff. So in 10 years, you could be pretty high level. So with that in mind, where would you want to see yourself? And that's the question. Where would you like to see your character?
I feel like it depends on how much the Anandarud family gets unseated. I see Athalor kind of following the mirrored path of his father, where he spends like decades away and then comes back like, I'm back, bitch, and I'm gonna be the big boss. But that would require a dedicated adventuring partner, and I'm not sure who goes with Athalor all that way.
I mean, Garnet is just as confused about her future as I am about Garnet IRL, because I've kind of created this like decision tree of like, if this happens, like this is the consequence, or like, so I have like these multiple endings where it's like, one, I think Garnet at its current, like maybe a week ago, would have just only wants to be Archmage and just wants to be like respected, is not in like, it's less of a power hungry way now and more of just like wants to be in a position where she takes care of people and is a position of power, so to say. And then like option 2, if things go well on the Zalar Brontha side of things, depending on how the whole Priest King arc goes, like she would want to maybe go back home and play with the politics there. But that's if she kind of like abandons Void stuff. So it's like abandons Void, goes back to Brontha, does Priest King stuff, keeps the Void, becomes Archmage. So it's like the 2 like endings I see right now. Besides dying. Yeah.
I want you to answer this question twice, Crowan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With for Alex and Mason, or
yeah. Again, a big if. Assume the survival part is a big if, right? But where would you currently like to see these characters in 10 years?
I think Mason, kind of like what I was saying earlier, like just out in the world, doesn't really matter where, as long as he's like making a positive impact. And assuming if things still go well with Sventisco along the lines, Sventisco obviously is very like wants to make a difference in the world of people who are in need, and that definitely aligns as one of the reasons that Mason was drawn to her in general. So maybe still along with her in some capacity. Maybe doing more to find mentor, long lost mentor of Oryx tribe. Definitely wants to help dragon tribes, I think, just generally in some capacity, but also extend that influence outward. Yeah. And then for Alex. I mean, I've told you a lot of where I want Alex to end
You
up.
can play a secret. That's fine.
I don't. No, I think it's fine. At the start, I never knew where I wanted like Alex to go. It's definitely like, oh, if Alex ends up like getting convinced to like drop Infernal stuff, sure. But it just kind of happened to go along the line of now we're full invested in Infernal stuff, and had wanted to pursue trying at any cost to, I think I revealed a little bit of it, but be an Infernal himself, try at any cost to like just try to be as powerful as possible and try to do something similar to like what the Herald did. Doesn't know how that happens, but had that like conversation with them, so like knows it's possible. But now with all of what has transpired, that probably, depending on how that pans out, will change it, but generally just wants to become as powerful as possible by kind of any means necessary, kind of lying, manipulating people, whatever. It doesn't super matter. He still has like some morals. Those are complicated to like all explain and get into, but yeah, just pursuit of power.
Why?
For understanding how important that he felt after coming to the school of like, oh, this mind influence has this power, they can kind of do whatever with it, and it seems like it just makes life easier. And he was, at least like all growing up, like kind of like bullied for being weak, and was very like, oh, just I have to try to dodge everything. And even at the academy, I try to like dodge people's suspicions and stuff, but he thinks that like if he's powerful, no one can make him feel like he's lesser or weak anymore, and be able to be in control of things. I think that's, along the first few years of Ioth Academy, been like a increasing value for him of wanting to be in control of the situation, more so out of like self-preservation and like comfort, and not having to like always, look over his shoulder kind of thing.
Survival. Sometimes that's all you got. Tell us a headcanon about your character that you've never had the chance to bring up on stream, on the show.
I think for me, like as much as like we meme about like the love square and love triangle, there's like a reason why I think she struggles to find like the one that she actually likes, because I think for like the longest time Mare convinced her that she could never be loved, so she needed to be respected, and hence why this kind of like pursuit of power was necessary, because she was convinced that people abandoned her. So in order to protect herself and protect the people that were around her, it was about being powerful. So then that's why I think like the start of my character was very like bully heavy and just like kind of a bitch all the time, was just like she wanted to be respected and just like hold that power above people. But now that she's kind of noticed that people can love her and that a lot of things that Merrick said aren't true, she now battles with like, what is love? Because love is like family love. But as a teenager, you find out that you can have attraction to people. And then there's like the attraction to, well, the past. Like Pavam is like this love of who she was before all of this shit went down. So it's like this is the love she has for her past life. Then there's Cyrus, where it's just kind of like almost, I don't even know how to describe Cyrus. I think it's purely like physical attraction and just like how cool he is and how much attention he gives her and how much he respects her too, which is like a whole level of like you're a goddess essentially, and she like likes that attention. She's a fucking teenager, so it's like a guy bowing down to her is like super awesome. And then Inaros is like someone who sees the potential in her and is the first person who's really noticed like her power and how like potential like influence wise, which everyone has kind of liked her for just something she's born with. And Inaros, she feels like he sees her as what she truly is and is a powerful person. She feels like Elnau and others have kind of ignored that, and she's been frustrated with herself, and Inaros is like finally noticing what she's capable of. So there's like attraction there. The 1, 2, 3, and then Pavam, Cyrus, Inaros. Was there a fourth one? I forgot.
If there's somebody else, then I'm slipping because
There's too many to keep track of.
It's
Too many
funny.
boys.
I think the rest, like, this is what's, like, out there right now. But, yeah, it's not just, like, all these guys are so hot. It's, like, understanding what love is and what she wants in love. And also the whole Pavan, like, being betrothed to her is something she didn't understand when they were kids. And now that it's come out, she obviously doesn't want to be forced into it, but doesn't want to disappoint him and everyone. So it's this weird, like, I don't really want to talk about it right now or deal with it because I have other shit to think about. So it's like, yeah.
Chat is saying Cryus.
Oh,
Ah.
Cryus. Cryus.
That's a one-sided
So like
romance.
one of the questions was actually like, what would you retcon? So which is like something I wanted to just answer there too.
Yeah.
I think like Cryus was like this character that she felt like she had power over. And when it came to like she demands respect and wants respect out of people, Cryus was like the first person to give it to her. So she felt like he was this like toy. And since she kind of started out evil because she just came from that Merrick training, she was just, yeah, kind of like a bitch and kind of like a bully. But I wish we retconned the whole like prom proposal because I don't think she would have like, she doesn't want to intentionally hurt people. She's just like flexing. And I don't think she would have intentionally like tried to make a total ass out of him. And I kind of wish we retcon that because I think like she's grown close to Cries as now it's not just a toy, it's someone that genuinely like cares about her. And she didn't really understand that people could care about her in a genuine way unless they wanted something out of her. And Cries doesn't want anything out of her. Maybe to date, but that's like whatever. So yeah, I kind of wish I retconned that. And yeah, Cries is not really someone she like is attracted to. It's more of like a friend zone situation. Um, but he's like cute, you know, he like cares about her. And that's like one of the first people that have shown true genuine care towards her, other than Athalor, like in terms of like the very beginning stuff. So very close to those two.
I think my headcanon about Athalor that I haven't really been able to share is that he is deeply resentful of Alosarin. He had like the base level from like his closeness to Ariana and Ariana disliking him, but also he feels somewhat supplanted as in his own fan headcanon, he considered himself after trying to like master the quill as like Ioth's heir. Not in terms of like the academy, but like as like a leader of the Alpha people. And
Legacy.
yeah. And when like Alosarin was named in that, he's like, this motherfucker. How many gods has he killed trying to save this academy? It's like, this bitch wasn't here for any of that. So Athel was like pretty resentful about that, and he is very much not planning on giving up the quill to Alosarin in under many circumstances. Just to comment on Inaris, I'm really glad that Garnet is vibing with his thing because I kind of proposed it to Gnomes as fanon a while back. The idea of like a shadow Brontha that was like only those marked by Zalar can lead, and it's kind of a religious fanatic thing that isn't entirely goody, but
Yeah.
it's still a fun concept.
I don't think she notices like the dark brown, like she doesn't see it as overthrowing someone. She just sees it as, oh, it'd be good to be king, you know, Simba style, you know. So
You have some
she's
interesting points, and I'd like to subscribe to your newsletter. Yeah, Inaros was born from this whole paragraph and art that Legday sent me. So credit where credit's due. Grow it.
And beeps out.
Yeah, Mars cool character. I Mason, I think it came up in like character creation, but hasn't really been explored too much. Partly because we're kind of out of the whole like having to do regular school stuff now. But Mason fucking hates school. Just like going to classes, like that whole process, hates that. Is like, okay, I'm just gonna go along with whatever I have to like learn, and then be able to go out in the world afterwards. But yeah, does not like the concept of having to like go to class and all that, like take tests. That's all like that's absolute garbage to him.
Like a rubber band from Alexander Best of the Best to
Yeah.
Coasting Kid.
True.
We're running low on time because we're aiming to make this like a pretty quick post show, but I do want to hear from Cohen and from Leg Day the other question that Lemon answered. You could retcon something. What would it be? Story beat, character arc decision, something like
question.
I can go if you want to think.
Yeah, you go. I think.
So I mean, the concept of, like, to preface, I guess the concept of retconning in general, I'm like meh. Like, however it ends up going, like, sure, I want to be able to roll with the, like, what has happened, because, you know, I don't make perfect decisions. Obviously, my character's not going to either, but I do, with that being said, think a lot about Alex's choice to save Ariana versus the mirror. Not that I
Oh,
would
yeah.
retcon that, but I just wonder, like, what would have happened and what would have changed afterwards. Like, that was a big moment. Not that that choice was, like, indicative of, like, where Alex was going to end up, obviously, because he went the other way, but it was, I think, really indicative of, like, how Alex felt about, like, his priorities at the moment. Like, these were people that he did genuinely, like, care about, and, you know, like, were friends to him, and that choice kind of reflected that. But going the other way, I think, could have, I don't know, been interesting in some regard.
I kind of feel that way about killing what's her name?
Naomi.
Naomi.
Because
Oh.
I definitely like I put a lot of thought into like why she did it. Because you know, if I overthink the crazy, then it's not crazy, right? Crazy has to be like a knee-jerk thing. But also like if Necra does ever want to come back to the table, it's gonna be so fucked to deal with that. So I
Yeah.
only solely want to retcon it just so if Necra comes back to the table, we don't have to deal with us hating each other and like dealing with that. Like I just would want her to come back and just like have fun, and that big drama is. And I kind of do feel bad because I wonder if like Necra as a person, you know, put all this effort into like saving Naomi and like putting herself on the line, and then I just said, nah, I'm gonna kill her. But it's like my character like definitely fucking like hated Alex and Naomi and this mirror keeper, and you know, we don't have to get into it, but it was like I feel bad for fucking up Necra's thing, and if she comes back to the table, I want her to be, you know, comfortable and happy, no drama. So
Yeah, fair.
I feel that
And
way. But I'm fine with the decision. It's just I think about that like you
The
said.
meta aspects, the table aspects.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that certainly would have changed Alex's approach to things if Naomi was alive as
Yeah, that
well.
shut a door.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think that if I was going to wreck on something, it would be similar to Lemons. I think that Athalor would have been a lot nicer to Cryas at the beginning. Back when I was figuring out who I wanted Athalor to be. This was my first D&D campaign. So the long-term consequences didn't quite come to mind, but at the same time, it made sense that like trying to look impressive in front of like these people who he'd met, who he really wanted to like look strong in front of. So I probably would have had Athalor be a lot less mean to Cryas.
Well, you know, kids are cruel, so I didn't think it was out of character, but I 100% get that.
We do
Yeah.
favorite moment before we go.
Let's do. We had to have something to close out. Before that, I pressed a bad button because I'm still getting used to this overlay. We didn't lose too much. We lost like a second because we went back to the other. But regardless, I have to put myself in detention.
Oh, okay.
Boo.
Yeah, let's do favorite moments.
We should have like a PNG over each of our like little squares. It's like jail bars.
I mean, look at the stream.
True. Oh, actually, from what you two both mentioned, like in Lemon, about like your retcon characters, I actually think that like that was really good, like character developments. Like I feel like that put into perspective like how they came into the academy, and like what kind of like it makes sense. Like in school, you kind of figure out who the fuck you want to be, and
Yeah.
so I kind of like liked seeing that like progression there from that like, oh, we bully Christ, not being like, oh, consequences or actions have consequences and things like that.
Yeah, it's player and character growth.
Yeah.
Let's wrap up with favorite moments, and then everyone will be able to tune in next week. Favorite moments from tonight or from the whole campaign? Legs, you're the one who brought up the prompt.
I want to talk about my favorite arc.
Let's do favorite arcs.
Well, or favorite event. And mine was definitely the invasion of Terra Nimbus. I think that was like such a sweet spot in the campaign where we had both domestic and foreign troubles, where we were kind of pseudo shadow warring with the Sage, but it's also the first time that like something from beyond the academy had like brought the fight to us, when previously everything had been so self-contained, and it felt like the moment when the lightning came through that like the scope of the story just went and even though it took a such a fucking long time to get through. I think that particular event was probably my favorite in the campaign.
I don't have like an arc, but rather just there was because I can't even remember what I had for breakfast, but so I can't remember like the arc, but just there was like a few RPs that Garnet had with Alex that I felt like were really intense of just this like chess match of dick slinging and just like Garnet who cared but also hated. It's like this battle of like love and hate at the same time and trying to bring him back and then being regretful and pushing him away. It was like I put a lot of thought into like how she wanted to approach the situation while being an immature teenager who has ego problems. And I thought that our RP was like really intense and really my favorite RP was between Alex and her, and either in Dream or like the different times we met. That was cool.
Oh, that's actually my answer too.
Oh,
But
yeah.
specifically, a specific scene is from when Renan turned back into Alex and that conversation that ensued after when they were like kind of alone in the headmaster's office between Garnet and Alex, and then the kind of I think it was like the Zalar power like came out or whatever, but then
Oh, the 1d2
Alex
roll?
It might have, yeah. I think there was like the coin of fate for like the initiative or something. Was that one?
Point
I
of
don't
fate
remember
is how
exactly.
you escaped. I think it was for initiative, and you rolled, and so you were able to get away.
Yeah, but the whole
that was
conversation.
post-Cepheus, though.
Yeah, post Atheus. Because that's like Alex finally coming out of like, oh yeah, Renan was a plant, and that whole ship has sailed, and now we're back.
Yeah.
And then kind
Bruh.
of digesting all of that, and the conversation with Garnet was, I think, was definitely one of my favorites. Probably top.
I've been holding on to a coin of fate for like 3 months.
Oh my
It'll come in
God.
clutch eventually.
That roll, that 1d2 roll that you did to just determine if Alex burned alive or not was like the most intense shit ever. Because I fucking felt so bad in that moment because I'm just like, I don't want to kill him, but this is like what I have to do. And it's just like,
Yeah.
it sucks when you're like IRL person. It's just like, I don't want to do this to shit on, for example, like the Necro decision with Naomi, and then like the killing Alex is like something I'm trying to avoid. And I put a lot of like, I gotta bring like I gotta do so many attempts to bring Alex back and try not to do the death thing. So I'm like super glad you escaped, but then I would have felt also like shit if you die. But it's like it's what the moment called for. But that was like the most intense moment ever of you getting out of that.
Agree.
It's what my character would do, is sometimes referred to as the Wang Rod defense, because people will use that to justify just being assholes to each other. I cherish the level of trust that we have at the table where you can do what your character would do and we'll roll with it and we'll get it, and you're not just trolling everything.
Yeah, I don't
You all
mind
do
it 'cause I
cool.
trust. Yeah, I don't mind it 'cause I trust you both to like not just do it for the sake of like, oh, yeah, I just want to do it 'cause my character would, but like actually like that's just what your character would do, and just believe that. So like I don't mind at all.
Garnet doesn't have Athalor's flaw of looking past all the bad to find the good.
All right. We are out of time for tonight. This is not going to be like filling these after shows is not going to be a problem at all. You all put so much thought into all of this, and obviously I have tons and tons of secrets and plenty of tinfoil that's still waiting to be revealed. So until next time, we will class dismissed.